Welcome back to my channel, everyone. So today we will be solely focusing on how to convert from decimal to octal. The next video will be focused on octal to decimal. So let's get started. So octal numbering system. What is the prefix for octal? It means 8, like octagon, 8-sided shape. So the radix for the octal numbering system is 8 digits. It's 0 through 7. 8 and 9 digits are not included in this numbering system. So how do we convert from decimal to octal? So we repeatedly divide the decimal integer by 8. Each remainder is the hex digit, and that's what's translated in the value. So let's play around with this real quick to see what we mean. So what we want to do is we want to turn 359, which is base 10, because it's in decimal version, and we want to find the equivalent version in octal version. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide by 8. And we're going to try to find the whole integer value that it goes into. So 359 divide 8 is 44.875. So when you can look at this, this is the remainder. We want to kick that out. We want to keep the 44, and we want to figure out what's 359 minus 8 times 44. It'll give us the digit that we care about. We care about the remainders. All right? So 359 minus 8 times 44 is 7. So the remainder is 7. Now we take this number, the 44, and we do the same thing. We divide by 8. How many times does 8 go into 44 without going over? It goes into it 4 times. Let's say 44 divide 8 is 5.5. 5.5. So what we want to do is we want to figure out what's 44 minus 8 times 5. So obviously this is 40. 8 times 5 is 40. So we have a remainder of 4. Now with this 5, we divide by 8. 8 goes into 5 0 times. So 5 is the remainder. So 8 doesn't go into 5 at all. So the quotient for that is going to be 0. There's still 5 left. So there's 5. And we read this that way. So what it looks like is 547 in base of 8 equals 359 in base of 10. So as you can see, this is the least significant digit, and this is the most significant digit. That's why we read it that way. So we stop when the quotient is 0. As you can see, 8 does not go into 5 whatsoever. So the quotient is 0. 5 is the remaining value, so that's the last remainder. So let's do another one. This one's an easier one. So how many times does 8 go into 85? It goes into 85 10 times. Right? 85 minus 8 times 10. Remainder is 5. Because remember, if we divide 85 by 8, it leaves us with 10.625. But all we care about is this for the moment, to find the remainder, which is 5. And now we take this 10. We divide by 8. How many times does 8 go into 10? It only goes into 10 one time. So we'll just do this for formality. 8 times 1. We are left with the remainder of 2. 1 over 8. Quotient 0, remainder 1. So let's just go through it one more time. 85 divide 8. It's a quotient of 10. The quotient is 10. And the remainder, which is 8 times 10, it doesn't go into 85 properly. So there's a remaining value of 5. We take that 10 divided by 8. 8 only goes into it one time. There's 2 remaining values. That's how we get our 2. And then we are left with 1 because we're taking this one right here. And 8 doesn't go into 1 whatsoever. So quotient 0, we still have this value, which is our remainder. So we read it going up. So this 125 in base 8 equals 85 in base 10. $245, same thing. 245 divide 8. What is that? What is that value? 245 divide 8 is 30.625. We only care about the whole number. So what is that remaining value? So 245 minus 30 times 8 equals. So 245 minus 30 times 8 is, the remainder is 5. Now we want to take this value, the whole value that we had, 30 divide 8. So it goes into it 4 times because 8 times 4 is 24 when we're left with the remainder of 6. So if you want to get more technical, and I'm so sorry, 3 times, I don't know what I said 4. 3.75, left with 3. And we're left with a remainder of 6. 3 divide 8. 8 does not go into 3 at all, so the quotient is 0, but we still have this remaining value of 3. Read it upwards. 245 in base 10 equals 365 in base 8. $1,486,046 divided by 8. And what's that value? 1486 divided 8 is 185.75. All I care about is this 185 right here. So let's figure out what's the remaining value of that. Alright, so it's going to be 1486 minus 8 times 185. So the remaining value is 6. We're going to take this 185, do the same thing for it. Divide it by 8. What's that quotient? 23.125. All we care about is the 23. So 185 minus 23 times 8. What is that remaining value? It is 1. So we bring this 23 here. Divide 8. Only goes into it twice. If we want to get more technical, 23 divide 8 is 2.875. So we can just say 23 minus 16 since it only goes into twice. So the remaining value of that is 7. So we take this remainder, 2 divide 8. Goes into it 0 times, 8 does not go into 2. 0 times, we're still left with this remaining value. We read up. 2716 and base 8 equals 1486 in base 10. So converting from decimal fractions to octal, all we do is pretty much multiply by 8, find that whole number, and multiply the fraction part again. So let's say we are looking at decimal 7.31. We multiply by 8. We take this number. This is our octal number, our digit, our octal digit. Then we're going to take that 848, multiply it times 8. Take this digit, the remainder. We do this the same thing until we're satisfied or until we get 0. So let's do an example. 27.5. What we want to do when we do this is we want to separate the fraction part and the integer part. So right here is the integer part. And we will do the fraction part over here. Fraction part. So just like we did before, 27 divide 8 goes into it 3 times. We can be more specific if we like. 27 divide 8 is 3.375. And the remainder is 3. So 3 divide 8. Quotient is 0 because 8 does not go into 3, but there's a remaining value of 3. So this is our integer part. What is our fraction part? Our fraction part is we multiply times 8. So this 0.5 times 8 is 4.0. And this is our octal point, right? So we take this 4, we move this here. This is 0, so it's done. Can't multiply by 8, it'll always be 0. So the way we read it for fractions, we read down. So we have our integer part here reading up, 3, and then we read our fraction part, which is just 4. So 27.5 is 33.4 in octal. And base 10. And that's our answer for this. 1175. Same thing, we have our integer part, then we have our octal part. 11 divide 8 equals 13.875. All we care about is this 13 right here. What's the remainder? Times 8 equals so that remainder will be 7. So we take this 13 divided by 8, only goes into it 1 time. We are left with the remainder of 5. 1 divide 8 doesn't go into it at all. Quotient is 0. We are left with a remainder of 1. We look at it up. So that's 157. And now for 0.75 for this fraction part, we multiply by 8. Alright, so 0.75 times 8 is 6.0. We take this 6. There's nothing left because it's going to be zeros. There's only 0 here. So this is the answer. So 157.6 in octal is 111.75 in decimal. So this one's a little bit more challenging. So we have, remember, we do the same thing though. It's same simple. We split into an integer part and a fraction part. So we divide this by 8. Try to figure out the quotient. So 1, 2, 3, 4 divide 8 is 154.25. All we care about is the integer part. Let's find that remainder. This is pretty much just plug and chug all the time. Alright, so let's figure out what that remainder is. 1,234 minus 8 times 154. The remainder is 2. Now we bring that 154 divided by 8. It's going to be 19.25. All we care about is the integer part. 154 minus 8 times 19. The remainder is 2. 19 divided 8. Only goes into it twice. It's 16, so there's the remainder of 3. So 2 divided 8. The quotient is 0, and it's 2. Read up. So far we have 2322.76. And now for this one's a little bit more difficult. Let's split it up. So times 8. This is our fraction part. This one will go on forever. I'm just going to do 2 times. So times 8 is 7.84. We keep this 7. We put the 0.84 through again. Times 8. Whatever that number is, 0.84 times 8 is 6.72. Keep that number. We put the fraction part through it again, times 8. And we'll just wrap it up here on this one. 5.76. So we read down for fraction parts. 765. An octal is 123.4.98 in base 10. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have a nice day.